Welcome to What a Creep, the show with Margot Donahue and Sonia Mansfield talking about creeps from the past to the present.
This is your quick guide to the biggest creeps, jerks, assholes, and losers, the best of the worst.
From two nice ladies who want the world to be a little less creepy.
Welcome back to What a Creep. This is Margot Donahue, and my cohort in creepitude, as always, is the amazing Sonia Mansfield. Hey, Sonia.
Hello, my friend.
Hello, my friend. And thank you so much, by the way, for taking over last week and leading
LOL.
the charge. You were great.
Oh, thank you. I'm just glad your voice is back so we could get back into our routine. It's better that way.
My nasal and my cackle are back in action, you guys.
She's breathing, y'all. Take that, 1-star reviews.
Yeah, I got that nasty cold that's going around. So everybody, please, for God's sakes, wear your masks as much as you can.
Yes.
You don't want to get sick. It sucks, especially in the middle of summer. Anyway, we are the podcast that talks about creeps from the past to the present. We do have a basic Facebook page, but I should warn you, we don't really check that. That's the place where people go to complain about our language. Just so you know, we use salty language in this program.
Fuck yeah.
What we do every week, by the way, is one of us picks a creep and the other one picks a non-creep to counteract that creep. So it leaves you feeling a little bit more hopeful about the world. Today, we're talking about a true crime creep. This story is bananas. But just to let you know, if you want to follow us on social media, we do have a private Facebook group. You do have to answer 3 questions in order to get in, but we're like a really great Facebook group where we don't have creeps. You know, we're trying to keep it not creepy. We talk about creeps in the news. We also talk about people who aren't creeps, which is really helpful.
It's a wonderful group.
It
wonderful
really
group.
is. We love y'all. We are on Twitter at CreepPod because somebody had What a Creep on Twitter for over 10 years and never used it.
Creep.
We're on Instagram at What a Creep Podcast, and we have an old-timey email, whatacreeppodcast@gmail.com. If you would like some stickers, and let me hold on to your knickers, girls. I am sending those stickers out.
That rhymes.
It is. My knickers and stickers.
Hold on to your knickers. You're going to get your stickers.
Yeah, bootlickers. Woo. No, seriously, you're not bootlickers. But anyway, I'm sorry that it took so long. I was sick, but we're going to get those out. If you were waiting for them, please wait a little bit longer. They will be in the mail for you. And Sonia, do you want to talk about our website?
I always want to talk about our website. It's at whatacreeppodcast.com, and it's everything you ever wanted to know about our podcast, but we're afraid to ask. There are links to all of our episodes and all of the sources for each episode because we source every single episode. We're not making this shit up. It's real.
We're not pulling it out of our butts.
You're not pulling it out of our butts. That's what we do at Dorking Out. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. And there's a link to our merch shop where you can get masks if you want with logos on it. We have mugs and tote bags, all kinds of awesome shit. And there's a link to our Patreon page. Margot, would you like to talk about that?
Yes, we do have our first 4 seasons. We're going to put season 5 up there real soon, probably the next week or so. So all those episodes are on our Patreon page. We also have a newsletter that goes out once a month. And we have 2 bonus episodes. And it's just a way to keep the lights on for the show, pay the hosting costs and things like that. And I'd like to give a quick thank you to Sans, Alicia, Ree, Dawn, and Amy for all joining in the past week. We really appreciate it. Also, so before I forget, I want to thank Kristen Meinzer from the Movie Therapy podcast, Movie Therapy with Rafer and Kristen. She had me on to talk about my book and also our show. And also love. And also Pink Shade, Mary Payne and Erin from Pink Shade let me come on to talk about Real Housewives of Beverly Hills.
So fun. Listening to Margot talk about the Housewives is one of my favorite things.
Oh, it was such a fun little rage talk. And I want to also, Sonia, I want to thank some people that just gave us some really nice reviews on iTunes. Zarltisa, Capilano with a K. Thank you both very much for leaving us a 5-star review. We really appreciate that.
Thank you. That's very nice of you. I want to mention one thing about season 5 that's going behind the Patreon wall. the Elon Musk episode is in that season. So y'all,
Wow.
you need to sign up for Patreon so that you can hear the Elon Musk episode. That guy is garbage.
He is human garbage. And he has 10 kids now?
10, yeah. Surprise! Like he he thinks he's super rad and he needs to breed, right? We just need more Elon Musks. So if you want to hear about all kinds of creepy shit he did, you're going to have to join Patreon to hear that episode. So do it. And we will, Margot and I'll start working on that Elon Musk cologne that we're going to create that smells like garbage. It's called Elon Musk and it smells like garbage.
All righty. So, Sonia, are you ready to rock?
I am ready to roll.
Sonia, what do you know about Burt Pugash?
That's a funny name. That's all I know about it.
Okay.
Pugash!
You said that.
Hoo-ha!
You said like Al Pacino. I was going to say.
Hoo-ha!
Very scent of a woman.
Pugash! You got pugashed! That's literally all I know.
Okay. He made headlines in 1959 when he was convicted of stalking and blinding his girlfriend, Linda Reese. She had dumped him over his lying and his selfishness. 14 years later, they got together and were married. And were married for decades afterward.
What the fuck?
Became the basis for a documentary called Crazy Love, which was partly directed by my former boss, Dan Flores. This came in 2007.
Okay.
And it's streaming on Amazon right now. And I saw it and I was like, I've got to talk about this guy.
Yes. I will watch it after this.
My sources are, of course, Wikipedia, but
Yes.
but also the New York Times. There are several stories in the New York Times that I have here. The Daily Mail, once again, Crazy Love by Dan Flores and Fisher Stevens. They directed this together. There's also Orange Pulp Films, 2011. They had an article, Gothamist. And then I am showing you, Sonia, because of Patreon members, I was able to afford a paperback copy of A Very Different Love Story.
Yes.
You get it? That love story came out, but it wasn't about a guy that blinds his girlfriend.
Yes.
This came out in 1976, and it's by David Stainback. I want to give you some trigger warnings. This is about domestic violence. It's about stalking, coercive control, and general assholery. So just keep that in mind and take care of yourselves. Our creep is Burton and Pugash. That is how you say his name.
Pugash!
Or Pugash or Pugash. I've heard it pronounced many ways.
I'm going to go with Pugash.
Pugash. Pugash. Burt was born April 20th, 1927. He grew up kind of poor in the Bronx, becomes a lawyer, marries a woman named Francine when he's young. He and Francine, they date for a while, and then she's pushing him for a ring. And this is at a time when you had to get married or you were an old maid. You know, getting married was just a part of the plan. You dated somebody, you didn't have sex with them, but you got a ring on your finger. That was the whole, that was like the thing at the time. It says that he dated this woman, Francine, for like a year, and then she started nagging him to marry her. David is...
Nerve.
I'm sorry.
The nerve of her.
Burt is, excuse me, that's his name, Burt. Burt is very charming. Burt is the kind of guy, he has an easy quip, he has a smile, he has a joke for everybody, he's incredibly smart, he's very verbal, he's good with people. And he's sort of this ambulance chaser. Like, he's the kind of guy that goes in when there's accidents and he has settlements, and he's making $200K a year in the 50s, which is a lot of
That's
money.
That's a lot of money.
And so there's a lot of women that want to date him. And Francine was a nice Jewish girl and basically was like, you've got to marry me or I won't have sex with you. She nags him into it to the point that she says, look, let's get married. And in a year, if you're not happy, I'll give you an annulment.
Damn.
They get married.
Yeah.
He cheats on her constantly.
Cool.
Constantly. She knows about it. And Burt says within a year, like on the day, like, okay, you said we can annul this. And she says, no, I have no plans on divorcing you.
Damn.
Burt then meets Linda Eleanor Reese. Linda's also from Brooklyn. I'm sorry, the Bronx. She was born 1937, so she's 10 years younger than him.
Okay.
She grew up in a home where her father left when she was young. She didn't have any relationship with him. She lived with her mom and her sister and her grandmother. So it's 4 women in a small environment. She's very petite. She tended to gain weight. She would be teased for gaining weight. It's a tough world she's growing up in.
Yeah.
She graduates high school, becomes a secretary, starts taking diet pills, starts looking really good.
Diet pills were amphetamines back then, by the way.
And it was a shot or pills or a shot. You would go in and they would shoot you up. You would lose weight because you're tweaking. And
Yes.
people would become horribly addicted
Yes.
and then would have these horrible crashes. And so they would
Yes.
get caught up in this cycle. It's not good. This is
No.
New York City for the time. This is just what women did.
Yeah. That was happening in the 80s, too. Do you remember,
Yep.
like, Dexatrim and... What was the other one? There was Accutrim,
There was one
Dexatrim.
called AIDS. Do you remember seeing that commercial?
Oh, my God. Is that... Which one was that one?
It was an appetite suppressant.
Yes.
And it ran for like the commercial ran like in 81.
Was it the one with... It was like a little, like, caramel kind of thing,
Yes,
right?
that was a chewable. Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah, the Dexitrims and all those came in capsules.
Yeah.
And they're like,
I
hey,
remember
just
my mom...
suppress your weight.
I remember my mom taking them, and then I would steal them from her and take them because I was obsessed with my weight.
Yeah, we all were.
Yeah,
Water
right?
pills.
Why? Why wouldn't we be? It was the 80s.
And water
Anyway.
pills. Yeah.
Yes, all of that.
So Linda is incredibly cute. She's brunette, big brown eyes. She's got a great figure. She loves to dance. She's an extrovert. She's outgoing. She likes to do things, go out and do things and dance and meet people. And she has these series of boyfriends. She has some fun. Like she'll work for a while and then she'll quit her job and go to Miami for a month. And then she'll come back to New York and get another job. She's trying to she's figuring things out. One day she meets Burt Pugash.
Pugash! She got Pugash!
He sees her walking down the street and basically kind of hounds her to get her phone number.
Cool. I love it when that happens.
Yeah. By the time she gets home from work that day, he had sent her a dozen roses.
Damn. Comes on really strong.
He's got game. He does this, what we call now love bombing. He's completely calling her all the time. He's picking her up in the morning. He's taking her to work. He's taking her to lunch. He's picking her up when she's from work. He then takes her out again. It's a lot. And she's feeling kind of suffocated. And this is a tough, they're dating a lot and they're looking at homes together and he's telling her how much he loves her and that he's separated from his wife, but he's going to get a divorce. And she's like, I want to get married. I want to get married. I want to get married. And one day he finally says, look, I'm going to Alabama. I'm going to get a quick divorce. I'll come back and you and I can be together. And she says, okay. So he says he goes to Alabama. He comes and he picks her up one day and her mother says to her, when he shows you the document, memorize the document number, right? The inventory number.
Okay.
So she does. Her mom and her aunt look up and find out that Burt was never going to get divorced. He made it up. It was a phony document.
Smart ladies.
Very smart. And Linda is like, y'all lied to me. You're married. And he's still like, by the way, the whole time they're dating, and there's like over a year of this, he's obsessed with having sex with her. And she won't do it. She will not give up the cookie, as Steve, what's his face from Family Feud would say. Steve Harvey.
Is that a term he says?
That's what he says. Don't give up the cookie.
Oh my God. I've never heard it put that way.
That's his dating advice.
That's how the cookie crumbles.
Exactly. Linda ain't giving up her cookie. She's like, you're not really divorced. You're not really separated. This is bullshit. And then Burt says to her, oh, I'm really going to get separated. I'm really going to get divorced. But then he doesn't do it. Then he gets mad at her. She breaks up with him and starts dating. And she starts dating a really nice guy, like let's say Stuart Schwartzman, something, a name that alliterates. But they're going out and they're hitting it off, and he's young and handsome, and she likes him. And it's going to be kind of a nice life.
Yeah.
Burt hears about this and loses his goddamn mind. He starts calling her constantly.
Yes.
He's leaving messages. He's saying, where are you? I know you're with somebody else. Linda has to change her phone number every month.
It's so fucked up.
It's
like
incredibly fucked up. He's
Yeah.
really laying it on. And her mom and her sister and the grandmother all getting nervous because this guy is like,
yeah.
no one can have you. No one, he says this to her one of the times that she breaks up with him. If I can't have you, I'm going to make sure no one will want you.
It's so fucked up. It's so the entitlement just
Exactly.
it's so fucked up. And you know, he made a shitty choice by getting married to someone else that he didn't want to be with, obviously. And now he wants Linda to suffer for his choices.
I also want to mention, by the way, Burt and his wife, Francine, had a daughter who was developmentally disabled.
Okay.
And that took up a lot of time for Francine to deal with that, because back then they just institutionalized people. And so there was that stress going on as well, like to take care of Karen, I believe her name was.
Yeah.
So it was a lot that would also be on Linda's shoulders, but she was okay with it. She was like, I don't care. I love you, but we got to get married, and you got to divorce your wife in order to get married. He can't get a divorce from Francine. And so he's calling Linda constantly. He goes to where she works. She gets fired from a job because he's bothering her so much. She's got to find another job. She goes to the police in the Bronx over and over again. And they're like, can't do anything about it. He's allowed to call you. He's allowed to, as long as he's not threatening to kill you, we can't do anything.
Right.
And she's terrified. Burt is anxious, doesn't know what to do. And then he gets the bright idea. What if I get somebody to beat up Linda? Not to the point that she's disabled or something, just to scare her so that she'll want me around and she'll marry me. She'll take me back. He hires these two goons. It's like a 50s term, but he hires two guys that'll work for $2,000, $1,000 each to rough her up. And then one of them says, what if we threw some lye in her face, which is this chemical that I think that relieves clogs in drains. It's very powerful. And he, for some reason, says, yeah, okay, that'll scare her. These guys show up at Linda's house. Her mother answers the door. They say, hey, we have a package for Linda. Linda goes to the door, and they throw the lye in her face and then run away. It's burning.
Yeah.
And she goes to the bathroom, and she's washing her face, trying to get the stuff off. And her mom and her grandmother are screaming, and her sister's getting an ambulance to come over. And Linda goes to the hospital, and basically she's blinded in one eye. She has reduced vision in the other eye, and her hair was burned off.
Jesus Christ.
The doctor told her mother, she'll probably wish that she died when she sees herself.
Oh my God.
To be prepared for that. Because she's a very beautiful girl.
Yeah.
And now she can't, she's got limited vision. She lost her hair. I mean, it's, in one fell swoop. It's not like there was time.
That's a lot.
It's a lot. Linda's in the hospital, and she was deeply depressed.
Yeah.
And very upset. And finally, the cops were like, maybe we need to follow her to find the guy who did this.
Imagine
and she
that.
says, it's Burt. And they're like, well, we don't have enough evidence to convict him or to arrest him. So you need to try to call him, and we'll record your phone calls, and then we'll get him on tape. And so she now has to call the person that's responsible for this.
So awful.
To
This
help the
poor
cops.
woman.
I mean, one cop, most cops were nice to her, but there was one cop in particular that she called the Kraut. He was really nasty to her. And one time, it was him and a woman cop, and they were taking Linda someplace downtown. And she said, "Hey, can I hold on to your arm while I'm walking?" And he says, "I'm not a seeing eye dog." Oh, yeah, he's a dick.
What a dick. Who talks like that to
He's
people?
horrible. He's horrible. But the woman cop was great and became her friend. And for the next few years, she has cops following her all the time.
Yeah.
And she says, "I'm kind of the shitty gig. Like, if you get in trouble, you have to, like, hang out with me." But she becomes friends with a lot of them because cops are fun.
Yeah.
They like to drink. They know where all the bars are. So
Sure.
she does not stop going to work. She's partially blind. She puts on a wig, leaves the apartment, kind of feels her way down the street because it's 2 blocks away, the building. And she goes to work every day for a couple of years.
Wow.
I mean, she lives alone, by the way, at this point.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, she's so strong. I can't even.
Yeah.
I just have so much admiration for her. Burt is a defense lawyer by nature. So when he's finally arrested, he does everything he can to throw out any kind of possible trial.
Of course.
He's throwing all kinds of wrenches into the plans. And it's his, you're allowed to defend yourself. That is the rules. But
Yeah.
he just throws fits in court. You didn't hear that. Alexa just was like, "Is there something else I can help you with?" Like, wow.
Alexa's like, "Did you say Pugash?"
One of the times that he's in court, Linda has to first give her testimony, and people are crying. It becomes this tabloid story in the city.
Of course.
It doesn't happen every day. This is
Yeah.
something, it's made for that because she's really, like I said, she's really beautiful. He looks like a beatnik. He's like very thin with the beard and everything. It's not all this stuff that New York papers love. She gives her testimony. They're not a dry eye in the house. People are crying and they're, he has a fucking fit. He keeps yelling, "I'm in love with you. Linda, don't do this to me. We can be together." Like trying to interrupt the trial, making it all about him all the time.
It's so fucked up.
At one point during the trial, he took off his glasses, smashed them on the table, and then attempted to cut his wrists with them.
Jesus.
He's a drama queen.
Yeah, he is.
He's constantly being sent to psych wards in New York and New Jersey.
I can't live without you. And I'd be like, do it.
Do it. That's what I know. Exactly.
I'm like,
believe me.
I dare you. Let's see it. Prove it.
Double dog dare you.
Yeah.
To do it. He is convicted. Finally. And people want him to get like 60 years, and he doesn't get 60. I think it's like 20 years he gets. And he's sent to different prisons, one of them being Attica. He goes to Attica in the 60s, and he notices he's going to get the shit kicked out of him because he's famous. And, you don't want to be famous in jail because everyone wants to be the one that kills the famous one.
Yes.
Burt is really, like I said, a good talker. And people like him, and he's genuinely really charming. So he talks up all the inmates, and he tells them, you're not treated very well here. They're violating your civil rights. And he loses his law license. Shock. But he is able to help people with legal matters.
Yeah. Yeah.
So he's helping all these prisoners. He lets like 14 guys go, like have shortened sentences.
Wow.
And he's really helpful to a lot of, because a lot of them they're there for under very racist conditions and
yes, I
like
was gonna say, like, the people that he's helping get free, probably they didn't have good representation.
Yeah, they were caught with pot, in a park or something, and then they wind up at in jail for a year. And he was also in Rikers. Yeah. He was in Attica when they had the big. We might do the whole episode one day. There was a big brouhaha at Attica prison, and a lot of people died. They protected him because he was somebody that was looking out for the other inmates.
Interesting.
He learned to speak French, Spanish, and Italian while in jail.
Used his time well, I guess.
He used his time really well. So he was in jail for 14 years. And by the way, every once in a while he would go up for parole or he would ask for a reduced sentence. And William Kunstler was his defense lawyer, by the way. He's a very famous.
Yes.
William Kunstler himself called Linda one day and says, you know what? He's really in love with you. And she's like, I don't care. While he's in jail and he's doing all this stuff, learning all these languages, helping all these people, he's trying to call Linda.
Jesus.
Linda still has to change her fucking number.
This is bananas.
Every few months. She has to go to the police and say, he's harassing me. And they're like, well, he's in prison. How much can he hurt you? And she goes, he hired people before.
Yes.
She tried suing the police for not protecting her and she lost because the world sucks. I mean, just cops got away with everything in New York.
Yeah.
And then Burt does, finally, he gets out. And I'm sorry, but there's at one point Linda had to go and say, look, this man did this to me and this is how it affected my life. And he's at the next table begging her to talk to him. And the judge is saying, no, leave her alone. Burt is so convincing, though, that at the end of that trial, that hearing, the judge said to him, I think you're going to get her one day. Yeah.
This is boggling my mind.
Yeah.
It's just like he's like wearing down everyone all around her first.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. He loves you. Like, it's like he still loves you, even though he did this like fucked up thing that you don't do to someone you love. They're like, I guess he really likes you. That's why he pulls your hair.
That's
because he likes you. That's why he's teasing you, because he likes you. That's why he hits you, because he loves you. I hate that shit. Fuck that shit.
He supposedly never lays a finger on her in their entire relationship.
No, he hires other people to do it.
Yeah. He gets out of jail in 1974, immediately goes on television, and one of his conditions is he cannot contact Linda.
I'm sure he's going to listen.
He still tries to contact her.
Yeah. Yeah.
And one of her Kunstler is the lawyer, and he says to Linda, you know, he really loves you. And she goes, you know what? If he fucking loves me so much, tell him to send me some money because I am broke. My mother died. I am having a hard time paying the bills. The cops won't protect me anymore. I'm almost blind. Like, tell him to send me some money. Burt sends her $4,000. Which is like the equivalent of like 20 grand now or 25. Yeah. She never had that much money in her life. And he's now working as a legal assistant, like just helping. And he's working nonstop to make money. And of course, at the same time, he's promising Linda, I'm going to give you $50 a week, you know, from now on to help you. He's also dating another girl. He's out of jail.
Of course.
He gets another woman to date him for months on end.
Yeah, what a catch. What a catch he is.
People were attracted to him. I don't know how to tell you this. People liked him. People really liked the Pugash.
People lining up to be Pugash.
They really are.
Like, yeah, I mean, he hired some people to like rough up and blind his old girlfriend, but he's really cute.
He has some charm. He has some kind of charm. He gets in touch with Linda. They start talking. The woman cop that I told you about before, she convinces Linda, just go out with him.
Oh my God.
This guy is making really good money now. He super loves you. He's going to keep you safe. I don't think he'll ever hurt you again. And he really, really loves you. And he just talks about you all the time. And Linda was at a point where, once again, she was broke.
Yeah.
She was living alone. All of her friends were married or gone. I mean, like, she was alone. And she also, by the way, during this time had the nerve, Sonia, to have sex and have boyfriends.
What? That's outrageous.
She loses her virginity a couple of years after he's gone, and she dates a bunch of guys, but nobody that's special.
Right.
Basically, the eyesight thing is what gets her. She wears these very very sexy looking glasses, but they're dark. So you can't see her eyes. And she really goes as long as she can without showing her eyes to people. And if you're you're dating somebody, that's kind of, at some point you got to take your glasses off.
Yeah.
And there's a couple of times she got kind of close, but it never really happened for her.
That's so scary. Like, just because eyes are, it's not like something that's hidden, It's like,
Right.
it's not a scar on, like, women like myself who've had mastectomies or whatever. Like, you can hide that, but your eyes or
And you can't see. People notice that pretty quickly.
Yeah. And like, it's just, you can't like hide that. And eventually they're going to see the real you. And that's terrifying.
Exactly.
And I have a lot of empathy for her.
I think also she's kind of stunted, like when this trauma happened.
Yeah.
In a lot of ways.
Yeah.
They start seeing each other. He gives her money. He showers her with compliments. I love you. I missed you. Please marry me again. Please marry me. Please marry me. I swear to God.
So he's divorced now?
Francine took off. Francine, like,
Francine's like, peace out. She's like, fuck off.
This. Yeah.
Good job, Francine.
And Linda's kind of weighing, and she's like, well, no one else is going to love me this much. No one else is ever going to care this much about me. That's what that's what she's thinking. And I'm not judging.
Yeah.
It's like she's in a tough spot.
Yeah.
For sure. And they go to several different judges in New York to get married, and most of them say, no, I won't do this. This is batshit.
Why don't they go to that trial judge that was like, he's going to get you eventually? Like,
the judge that they went to was 40 minutes late marrying them because he was convicting a person right before then of rape.
Cool.
They get married. There's press everywhere. And they go to Vegas. And they have a really nice time. It's like 1975-ish. Mm-hmm. And a few days into the honeymoon, she sort of had some breakdown. She's like, oh, shit, what did I do?
Yeah.
What did I do?
I can't believe I married the guy that
hurt me.
Blinded me. Yeah.
Didn't blind her with science.
No.
They get married. They move to Rego Park, Queens. He starts working an awful lot as like a legal assistant to live up to the lifestyle that she was she has a lot of bills. She has a lot of medical bills. There's a lot that's going on.
That was his fault.
That was his fault.
Yeah.
And they're kind of this wacky story, and then people forget about them. Mm-hmm. And they're just living their lives in Queens. And then in 1997, he's arrested and he's being sued by a former assistant of his. They had an affair on and off for about 5 years. And she's suing him for assault, sexual assault, and for harassing her. 97.
I'm confused. I thought he loved Linda so much. So weird.
He was cheating on her all this time.
So weird. It's almost like it's not about love. Huh.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Burt defended himself and did such a good job. All the charges were dismissed except for harassment. Linda went on the stand to defend him as a character witness. The jury basically said that the woman was a liar and all this other terrible stuff.
Yeah.
It sucks. But then the story kind of percolated again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so then they're back in the news and people are talking about them. And this time it's like, a current affair and all these like tabloid shows are talking about them.
Those were my favorites.
The best, actually. And Dan releases his movie and it's called Crazy Love. Mm-hmm. They were still together for a long time. There were cracks in the relationship. They bickered a lot, which
I bet.
I bet. I mean, they're around
remember
each other
that time
constantly.
remember that time you hired some goons to blind me? I would say that shit every fucking day.
Yeah. All she said was like, he loved me, he cared about me, and he took care of me. And that's what she it's what she needed, and she made her own choice. I don't know what
Yeah.
I would do. I mean, I'm sure she was terrified. I'm sure
Yeah.
she.
I have nothing but
empathy.
I have so much empathy for her, actually. Like she probably was doing what she felt she needed to do.
to protect herself.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't think there's no evidence that he ever, like I said, laid a finger on her. Like you said,
Yeah.
he paid somebody else to do it, but
Right.
he was nice in other ways. I'm not making excuses. I think this guy is a shithead, and I
Yeah,
think
he sucks.
he sounds like he's an assaulter of women, and he's like
Yeah.
an abusive, and like he's a love bomber and then a stalker
Yeah. Yeah.
of women.
It's about control.
It's all about control.
Yeah.
So funnily enough, Linda dies. Well, that's not funny, but Linda dies in 2013. She was 75. She had heart disease. He dies in 2020 on Christmas Eve.
Dude, he lived a long time.
Yeah, he did. 93.
Yeah.
Turns out in the last year of his life, he had a stroke and he was being taken care of. And I love the New York Post. Wife of gay ex-NYPD cop sued for allegedly scamming famed lawyer's estate out of $15 million.
Whoa.
He is being taken care of by a woman and her husband, and they make a point of saying he's a gay ex-cop. I don't know how he got $15 million. He says it was stocks. He said that Burt basically was really good with the market. I don't know. But all the time that he was with her, he told people, when I go, because we didn't have kids, he said, I want to leave the bulk of my money to this, an organization that'll help people who are blind. It's the one thing he could do
Right.
that would be decent karma to send out
Right.
into the world. Like he made a big deal about that. Like it's going to be in her name and it's going to be helpful. And it turns out that this woman scammed him into signing over his will to her right after he had a stroke. And when he had a stroke, he lost control of the left side of his body. He went from living in Rego Park in his apartment for like 40 years. He moved in with this woman and her husband, and she basically had him change his will to leave her as the beneficiary. So the last thing that's happened is that she is now, this woman, Shaman Frawley. They are saying that her husband and his son Nicholas used romantic and sexual leverage to bilk the late lawyer out of his fortune. I don't know what's going to happen,
Wow.
but it's amazing that in his life, like how many people he took advantage of,
Yeah.
and that in the very end, that's what happened to him. And that's our creep today, Burt Pugash.
Pugash. Pugash. That was a good story. I was really reaching there. Good job, Margot. I need to watch that documentary.
It's a good documentary.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's on Amazon. And there's
Yes.
a couple of podcasts. I think it's called Once Upon a Crime podcast? I'm sorry. There's a podcast about it too, but I didn't listen to it because I didn't want it to affect what I said.
You did an awesome job. I was fully invested in that story.
Good.
What a fucking creep.
He's a total fucking creep.
I wish that stroke had made him blind.
That would have been justice.
Why don't we take a break and then we'll come back with our not a creep. Are you ready to hear about our not a creep?
I am.
She's wonderful. You'll see what I did there in a second. We're going to talk about Linda Carter. Do you know who Linda Carter is?
No, who is she?
She is Wonder Woman. That's who she is. She was the original Wonder Woman from the 70s TV show. So Linda Jean Cordova Carter, born July 24th, 1951 in Phoenix, Arizona. We're going to talk about Wonder Woman in a bit. But she is someone who actually singing was her thing. So singing was her passion. And then it kind of turned into acting and all that. So she made her debut on television. She did public television on something called the Lou King's Talent Show. She was 5 years old. During high school, she was in a band called Just Us. That's what it was called. So cute. At age 15, she was singing in local pizza parlors to earn extra money. At 16, she joined another band called The Relatives, and the other people in the band were her cousins. So The Relatives. Yep. And they went and they were performing in Vegas for like 3 months at the Sierra Hotel and Casino. But she was under 21, so she could only get in through the kitchen, which I think is hilarious. In the 70s, she joined a tour called the Garfin Gathering, and she did that, toured the country for like a year, and then in 1972, she won a local Arizona beauty contest, and then she won Miss World later that year. She was Miss World. And that then she started transitioning into acting. So she did like guest appearances on like Starsky and Hutch and stuff like that. And then she auditioned for Wonder Woman. This would have been 75. And she didn't get it at first. Joanna Cassidy got it first.
I like Cassidy.
We love Joanna Cassidy, and I'm drinking out of I'm right on top of that rose mug today. But she dropped out for whatever reason, and so Linda Carter got the role. And she got the role mainly because she looks so much like Wonder Woman. She is like the exact what we picture when we think of as Wonder Woman. And Linda Carter is beautiful. She's still beautiful. And when she got the part, the producers were like, women are going to hate you because they're going to be so jealous of you. And she said, not a chance. They won't be, because I'm not playing her that way. I want women to want to be me or be my best friend. And she's just like, she never played her as like, she was just always like really strong, like really good. And I loved Wonder Woman by the way, I loved the Bionic Woman too.
Same.
I loved shows like that because we didn't see that. Most women on TV in the 70s were wives, which is fine. That's fine. Whatever.
Yeah.
But it was cool to see like a woman kicking ass.
Yeah.
And there's a reason why we all fucking love Wonder Woman. So she did that show for like 4 years. And then she started doing musical specials, and it was like Linda Carter's special and the stuff called like Encore and Celebration, and it's all like variety show stuff. And then she did a show called Partners in Crime with Lonnie Anderson.
I remember
watching that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I watched it because I loved Linda Carter so much, because I was like, it's Wonder Woman. So she just continued to do like movies and TV and things like that. There's a couple other things I wanted to point out. She played Mama Morton in Chicago at the West End, London. I love that. There's like her rendition of When You're Good to Mama, which a song I super love. And I sing it. I sing it all the time, but I change it to Sonia. So it's like, when you're good to Sonia, Sonia's good to you. Anyway, if you buy the Chicago 10th anniversary edition box set, you can get Linda Carter's version. And she does a lot of cabaret now. That's what she does. But why I picked her was like her, not just her work, but like what she does outside of that. So she is very vocal about like she struggled with alcohol. She is a recovering alcoholic. She talks a lot about her sobriety in interviews. She does a lot of guest speaking at like health and well-being events. She's just super cool that way. She is a very big advocate and supporter of breast cancer nonprofits. So like Susan G. Komen for the Cure. She speaks out for abortion rights. She is all about like supporting the gay and trans community. She's been like the grand marshal of like multiple pride parades throughout the years, including like Phoenix, New York, in DC. She was super outspoken during Me Too. She said that she faced a lot of sexual harassment and and she did say she was sexually assaulted at that time. She said abuser was already being punished, and she didn't want to pile on because she was worried that her jumping in would distract from the other victims. But I will say, in the interview that she did, she said, "I believe every woman in the Bill Cosby case." She specifically said it. And then the Daily Beast contacted Carter's representative and said, "Did Bill Cosby abuse her?" And she said, "I don't want to name any names."
Okay.
And she just said, like, "I didn't feel like I could add anything, and there was nothing legally I could do."
Right.
Like, so a statute of limitations situation. So, and there's just a few things I want to shout out. Like, she went to the premiere of the Wonder Woman movie, the first one with Gal Gadot, and she said, "I didn't watch any of the trailers," and she went to the premiere, she saw the whole thing, and then she stood up and cheered.
Aww.
Which I was like, I love. And the reason, like, she's kind of back on everyone's radar is she recently joined Twitter, and she is just burning trash like Lauren Boebert, like, and she is standing up for women and gay and trans people, and she's doing it like so well. So Lauren Boebert, she's a far right congresswoman nutbag, and she is talking about like how parents should be taking their children to church and not drag shows. And Carter tweeted, "Have you been to a drag brunch? They have bread and wine, loving community, and men in fabulous dresses. Sounds a little like church to me." And then recently, Bette Midler and Macy Gray came out and said some real transphobic shit, which is super upsetting.
Disappointing.
And yeah, super disappointing. And like I wrote in our newsletter, like, I'm hoping that they're going to learn something here, because they've always been really supportive of the gay community, and I would like to see them realize what they've said. But Linda Carter came out and tweeted, "I can't think of anything that helps women's rights less than pinning the blame on trans women. They face so much violence and scrutiny as is. Leave them alone. Focus on the real war on women. It's happening in the courts and legislatures around the country."
Hell yeah.
Like, yeah. And like, she is killing it on social media. She's clearly like a super smart, empathetic. A lot of people have been coming at her and like, because I think she tweeted something that suggested that Wonder Woman was gay or bisexual or something, like, and she is a gay icon. Well,
Yeah.
Wonder Woman is 100% a gay icon. And people were like, "I'm so disappointed in you." And she's like, bye. Like, she don't care. She doesn't care. She's like, "I don't know what show you were watching. Wonder Woman is a gay icon, and she is into it." And I love her. I love her. And I'm seeing that she's still touring, and San Francisco's one of her stops. And we were talking off mic, and I was like, it's probably 1,000 gay men. And I'm like, it's going to be 1,000 gay men and Sonia at her next show. Because she is rad. She is definitely not a creep.
Oh, I love that. I love her so much, and I love
Me
that
too.
show. Well, that's our show this week. Thank you all so much for listening. If you have ideas for creeps and non-creeps, all those social media places I mentioned before, you could reach out to us. And we love it when you use the Annie Potts gift. We got one,
Yes.
from Ghostbusters, or anything that you think is clever.
Yeah.
Shoot us an email if you want, whatacreeppodcast@gmail.com. Once again, if you want stickers, wherever you are in the world, I will send them out to you. And I want to say thank you again to Pink Shade Podcast and Movie Therapy with Rafer and Kristen. If you like the sound of our voices, we co-host a show called Dorking Out.
Yes.
And we dork out about movies. And what is going to be our next movie?
We were sad to hear about James Caan passing away. And so we wanted to do a James Caan movie, and we're like, we could do The Godfather, which, hot take, it's real good. So we decided to do something else. We're going to talk about Honeymoon in Vegas, and I'm real excited because I haven't seen it since the theater, and I think it's going to be real cute. That's my gut.
It's going to be fun. It's got Nicolas Cage, Sarah Jessica Parker.
Yeah.
The Flying Elvises.
Yes.
Bruno Mars. It's his like first movie. He was 7 years old and he's in there.
Little Bruno Mars.
Little baby Bruno Mars. It's going to be amazing. So be sure to follow us at Dorking
Yes.
Out. And Sonia, where can they find you?
You can find me at thesoniashow.com and The Sonia Show on Twitter and Instagram and the TikTok. Where can people find you, Margot?
You can find me at Brooklyn Fitchick, mostly for Twitter and Instagram. My TikTok is at Margot Donahue, and my site is brooklynfitchick.com. In the meantime, all of you, please be safe. Try to avoid that nasty cold that's out there. It's really gross. Don't be a creep.
Creep!
Thank you for listening to us talk about creeps. You can follow us at What a Creep Podcast on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
But don't follow us too closely.
You can email us your creepy stories at whatacreeppodcast@gmail.com.
But please keep your dick pics to yourself.